Good morning, everyone. A little late start. Sorry about that. I had to restart my computer at 9:57. So, welcome. I'm glad that you're here, right? So, we have a lot to talk about today because the week has just not been about solar flares as much as it's been about this energy, right? In these planetary, like, what the heck is going on? What are we doing? Something deeper is happening, something we can feel, yet not name. So today we're going to talk about the unknown, right? And the topic for today is like there's some huge symptoms, but there's no flares. So we're going to talk about the unknown because that's the area that I love the most and want to talk about. Okay. So this isn't the fear based version of the unknown at all, but the dimensional initiation many of us are walking into right now. Makes sense. Because whether you've noticed it or not, this week has been filled with things that are felt and sensed and perceived, but not understood by the mind. Like, I don't understand what's going on. And it can be really disorienting. And I've been getting calls all week like, what's going on? What's going on? And we're going to go through the astrology, we're going to go through a lot of it, but let's just start first with the sun because the solar flares, and I brought in a chart and I forgot to pull it up. So give me a second and let's just go to these photos where I can show you what this is what the solar flares look like right now. You can see that green line. That's a B class solar flare, right? And this is what it looks like on the chart. These are the M class flares. These are the X class flares in the orange. There is absolutely nothing going on. It's so calm. Mostly B class, a few C class, even a few C class up into the eights, but nothing that matches the massive energy that we had with the X class flares that we experienced last week. And yet, we're fatigued, we're emotional, we're confused, more introspective, more activated, more activated than we were during the X class flares. Why? And so, what I'm going to say is because the water trine is now driving the system, absolutely driving the system. So, this water trine, it isn't a quiet storm at all. We're swimming. We're like trying to navigate. We're trying to survive, right? Scorpio, Pisces, Cancer energies all together, water on water on water. And water isn't linear. It moves in a current and it loops and it swirls and it has memories and lineage and psyche and intuition. And this week has been a deep dredging, psychic dredging of all of the old information that's been rising out of our field, some new information that's been arriving in our body before our mind can even interpret it. And in some ways, it can even provoke this kind of feeling. Like I don't know what to think. I don't know what to feel. It's all just coming in right now. So some of us some of us felt this like this new moon energy that was intense. We talked about that last week. It was going to be a big moon. And then I think it was Tuesday, there was a Mercury Cazimi. And I don't know, again, some of these astrology terms are way beyond my bandwidth. However, a Cazimi is like a diamond point of clarity that comes in in Mercury, right? And then dissolves into fog. And Alexander Quinn did a post on Facebook about it. So you can read more about it on there. And it's also on our Patreon. But what he said really well is that the Cazimi is an inhale, like after days and days after the long exhale. So some of us have felt a cosmic pause and some of us have felt absolute hyperdrive, and both are correct. It's going to be both a long exhale and a sharp inhale and a lot of mental swirling around that will look like you're on three cups, three espressos, what do I want to say? 3 Americanos back to back. That would be what I would say that Cazimi felt like to me, right? So the unknown is rising and it shows up in the body first. That's what we want to talk about. It's unknown, it's out there, but it's going to show up in our bodies first. And this is the part that I really, really want to talk about. Is that many of us are seeing, not even seeing, we're sensing something emerging, a shift, a wave, a new pattern. But the mind is like, I don't know what that is. I can't identify it yet. So what does the body do? When we don't know and when our mind can't grab it, it tightens, it hesitates, it delays, it withdraws, it creates fog, and it interrupts old plans. And it says, not this, not now. No, not that path. I'm not doing that. So magnetize yourself on Instagram. Said it really perfectly. Sometimes the body rejects a timeline before the mind understands why. I've used that quote before. Maybe you recognize it. So this is your system pulling your life force out of outdated portals. Like, yeah, no, you don't want to go there. That's old. Let's not do that again. Okay. So enter what we have at the end of this week if you live here in the States is that we have Thanksgiving. And it is the gate of programming. And we want to talk about this because this holiday and over the next 5 weeks as we go here into I'm always going to say Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and all. And if you don't celebrate any of those, you also have this inundation of colors and themes in every store, in every religious gathering, in everything, right? So what we have is tradition, and we have obligation, and we have family roles, and we have expectations, and we have survival strategies. We have social conditioning. We have conformity. And this is where the unknown collides with the old known. And I brought this card up to sort of show you what that might look like. I love this card because it's the devil card in the Osho Zen. And this is what happens when you're trying so hard to fit into that old world, that old known, and it isn't quite fitting anymore and you've outgrown it. So what many of you are noticing is that this year especially, something feels off. Things don't resonate the same way. The old traditions feel hollow, heavy. They feel like you're on some track that you didn't even sign up for. Your body is saying no, even when you are saying yes to family, yes to traditions, yes to, of course we will. So this year, the pull towards authenticity is stronger than the pull towards obligation. And we're in the real tough spot because we got authenticity and we've got obligation. And this is where we're evolving. Makes sense, right? So meanwhile, we also have these huge energies that have been moving in and shifting us, whether it's the plasma codes, whether it is from 3i Atlas. We have a lot of different places where we can identify this. But Lee Harris called this out at the end of October. He said old calcified patterns are breaking loose. The trauma loops are releasing quickly. Long-term wounds are suddenly dissolving. Right. And when the heaviness clears, the rushes of love and gratitude and wonder return. And those waves are signs of how you're doing. Have you noticed that? That there's this crunch, there's this contraction, and then you sort of get your way through it, whether it's a 10 seconds, a half an hour, half a day, and then there's this burst of new energy. This is what we're talking about. So the other part is that the indigos are being activated again. You know, I'm going to bring indigos in, right? This message came through really, really strong for me this week. So if you're an indigo, and many of you are who watch this, you volunteered to come into dysfunctional family systems, right? You signed up to dismantle programming from the inside. You expected emotional pain, you expected resistance, and you expected to feel different. But what you didn't expect was the acceleration that we're in right now. It's almost like, this is hard. And we sort of chug through decade after decade of trying to figure this out. And now all of a sudden things are changing really quickly. And the water trine is activating our sensory gifts. And our body is online in a new way. We're noticing things. Our intuition is sharper. Our clairs are sharper, stronger. Our nervous system is reading the field faster than it ever has before. So we are exactly on schedule. That's what I want you to hear. We're exactly on schedule. So you know that I'm a fan of Fida Fidel, and she talks about February of 2026. So in our case, that is what, 2.5 months from now? What, 70 days? when Saturn and Neptune go into Aries at 0 degrees. This is that arrival that we've been working towards. And it's also coinciding with the year of the horse in the Chinese zodiac, right? The year the universe removes its buffering. She did a piece on Instagram. No more becoming, no more waiting, no more when I'm ready, no more future self, no more delayed consciousness. This week is this week, the unknown you're feeling is dissolving into everything that kept you in delay. It's almost like, well, when I finish mystery school, or when I get through the holidays. That's my favorite line right now. Everybody's on hold until after the holidays. And then you start to call them at the beginning of January, and they're like, no, not quite yet, because they're so overtaxed. And that delay has caught up with them, and they don't know what to do. So don't do that. Sit with this. Find out what becomes possible when you stop delaying yourself, right? So Blossom Goodchild did a really interesting channel, and she said, we are starting to become observers. We're noticing the shift. We're noticing the vibe rising. The ease is returning and the frequency is lifting. And this is in our imagination. This is what is actually evolving around you. So I have 7 tips for you today because I couldn't cut one out. And before I go to tips, I want to talk to you about the Patreon channel. We've had some new members joining. We have a lot coming in just to read our content and find out what we're sharing. And there's a link down below if you'd like to come join us. Our discussions are at 5 p.m. on Tuesday, Mountain Standard Time. If that's something that works for you and you'd like to be part of our collective observations and what we're sharing with each other, come join us. We'd love to have you. So 7 tips. Let's start. So the first one is to trust the invisible before the visible. Trust the invisible before the visible. Your body reads the field faster than your intellect can. We know this. So that fog and that contraction and that hesitation and that disinterest and overcharged emotions, sudden emotions, these are not failures. These are data points. This week is all about trusting how you feel. This whole month, these whole next 70 days are trusting how you feel, even when it doesn't match what you can see or name or quantify. That's the phase that we're in right now. So number 1, absolutely trust the invisible before the visible. Number 2, slow down the mind and stay present to the sensation. When the mind doesn't understand, it tries to run. We know that. Oh, what is that? What is it? What could this be? And then you start perseverating, right? I don't know I can't find the answer. When the body doesn't understand, it tries to speak. It overprocesses and blah, 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 blah. But your power is in the pause, not in the interpretation right now. So you want to drop from your head to your chest, to the heart intelligence, and then drop even further down to the sacral, to the gut intelligence, and let that sensation lead you through the next step. Let your gut intelligence lead. And then, so what you're doing is you put your hand on your gut and you say, I'm here. I'm listening. I got this. I'm understanding you. Makes sense, right? Number 3, treat emotional waves as temporary weather, not your identity. So with this deep water trine, plus the energetic spikes that happened last week are going to stir up these old layers, these old stories, these ancestral debris, and these forgotten memories. right? These waves are temporary. They rise and they fall and they move through. Your job isn't to fix the wave. Your job is to witness it without turning it into your identity, to respond instead of react. Respond is to go float up with it and go, well, this is a big one. Oh, that was a quick one. Or wow, this one has taken me in a very different direction. So what we're doing is we're observing the water, right? As emotional waves in our bodies. All right, number 4, simplify your physical world. Now, we've talked about clutter and decluttering for forever in the holidays and all of this stuff, but let's just really look at when we're in the unknown energy corridors that we are right now. Clutter and messes overwhelm the nervous system. And what we want to do is we want to help our nervous system. So we want to create a simple anchor. So for me, it might be to clear a desk, to organize my bedroom or a drawer or a kitchen or a mudroom, right? To get on and delete pictures off of my phone or emails, to light a candle, to sit down, have a cup of tea, and just breathe because I want to give my system a place to land, right? So, number 4 is to simplify your physical world. That makes so much sense. Now, number 5 is to update your timeline immediately. So, trust your body when it suddenly rejects plans or people or obligations or environments. Trust that contraction. It is almost as if like you are working all the way up to Thanksgiving and then you're like, yeah, we're not doing that. I want to stay home and do something different. Give yourself permission to do that, to not buy into the old known and the old obligations. Your body often withdraws life force from a timeline before your conscious mind knows why. We have to understand that it's invisible. Our life force is guiding us. And this isn't avoidance. This isn't like you failing. This is an energetic intelligence, and your system is pulling you out of what no longer matches you. And then we have to go, oh, what are they going to think? What are they going to do? How am I going to deal with this? Right? Just know that if the timeline changes, react immediately. Number 6, practice micro integration and embodied anchoring. You're receiving inputs from the sun, from Atlas, from three-eye Atlas, from the water trine, from your guides, from the unseen. Instead of trying to figure out the unknown, which we can't because it's just so big, you put your hand on your heart, you breathe into your lower belly, you feel your feet, and you drop into now. What am I noticing? What am I feeling? What am I observing right now? Because micro anchoring stabilizes you faster than any mind analysis ever could. And then there's extra grounding that you can do where you touch real objects. You clean one small area, you cook something warm, you go outside. You do something where you're actually touching the physical 3D because embodiment is integration, right? And number 7, compassion is your stabilizer. You're doing something never done before in human history, right? You're integrating new frequencies while dismantling old programming. Give yourself that pat on the back like, oh my God, I am integrating new frequencies while I'm dismantling all that old crap. The symptoms aren't failure. The confusion isn't regression. The exhaustion isn't weakness. This is about what evolution feels like from the inside. So you have compassion for your pace, for your emotions, for your body, for your integration speed, and for the people around you who are really overwhelmed, especially those who are still trying to push their way through some kind of holiday obligation expectations when money's tight, supplies are low, and there's all this external pressure. So compassion dissolves the fear of the unknown, and it restores coherence and dignity and inner peace. So I have a journal prompt for you, and I'll put it down in the comments. Where is my body pulling me away from the old? And where is it guiding me towards the new? Because remember, you're not losing direction. You're losing the illusions that used to define direction. You're not confused. Your old operating system is dissolving. You're not falling apart, you're falling into alignment. And the unknown is not the threat. The unknown is the doorway that's going to open. And you, your presence, your intuition, your energy are the very thing that our future requires. So have fun with it. And I will leave you with two images that I love more than anything. This is what it can feel like for us when we are truly in that energy. So come join us on Patreon on Tuesday, or I'll see you next week. Have a good holiday. Have a fun holiday doing what you want to do. See you later.